Becky here. So in today's video, I will show you what I have done on the first few pages of this brand new sketchbook. So I made this sketchbook by myself with cans and XL watercolor paper, and it was a very simple sewing with thread. I have been working in this for about a week now. I'm really enjoying the beautiful season by sketching the leaves and sceneries from inside and outside my home. So this is the second last day of October and it's a beautiful day. I went for a walk to my neighborhood park with a duck pond. So as always, I begin drawing with a pen directly. It's waterproof. So drawing very loosely, I'm not trying to achieve a super accuracy. I'm trying to capture the essence with lines and paint. And this sketch took me 45 minutes. And on the same day, in the evening, there's this gorgeous cloud outside the west window, and I have to sketch it. Evening skies like this are always inspiring to me, and I can't stop grabbing my sketch kit to sketch it. So I'm laying down the colors very loosely and using a wet on wet technique without too much rubbing, because too much rubbing is gonna make the colors very muddy, not vibrant anymore. And 2 days before Halloween, I went to the local farm with my mom to buy 2 pumpkins so we can carve our own jack-o'-lanterns. See how I did this sketch in my previous video. In my neighborhood, there are lots of maple trees with vibrant colors, and I often pick some of the leaves I found on my walk and sketch them in my art journal. So when I draw what I see instead of what I assume it should be. So we really have to trust our eyes when we're drawing. So sometimes when we see something that doesn't look right, but it's there. Nothing in this world is perfect as we assume. Everything has some degrees of imperfections. So I really like painting 3 or 4 layers of paint because it gives more depth to the objects. So when painting watercolors, it's a good idea to start with the lightest colors. In this case, light yellow, and then orange, and then red, brown. So in this way, you're able to achieve depths very easily. So if you start painting with a quite dark color and you're trying to lighten it, in the next step is very, very difficult. So it's important to observe the lightest colors, medium colors, and the darker colors before you start painting. So I always quickly plan the layers of colors before I start painting. So for lunch, I'm having a fish burger I made by myself. Now I'm drawing before I eat. So these organic lines of lettuce. I'm almost doing a blind contour. Now I'm adding some hatching to suggest the 3D form of the burger bun. Just a little bit, we don't have to do a lot of hatching. Just a bit is going to show the 3D form. Now I'm painting with watercolors. I'm painting very loosely. I'm not trying to paint perfectly inside the lines. Just to relax my hand and be natural, loose. And on the same day, in the late afternoon, I'm having a cup of coffee. And now I'm sketching my current read. So again, I'm using hatching marks to create interest for the sketch. So again, the first layer of color is always the lightest I see. So the first layer is light yellow, and now I'm adding the colors for the trees on the book cover. It's a mix of viridian green and burnt sienna. So when I'm drawing and painting, I'm really doing that in an abstract way. I'm seeing things in abstract ways. It's really fun painting book covers like this. It's like going to a different world. Now I'm adding another layer for the tree. Again, so it's darker with less water and more paint. Trying to create the kind of foggy effect in the book cover. And adding some shade for the side of the book. Also here. Now I'm sketching a pack of snacks. It's really fun looking at these details on the package. Really fun design. So if you look at the food package or any other package carefully, you're going to see sinking ins and also parts popping up, creating shades. Now I'm using hatching marks to create effects of shades. Food packages are not flat. There's lots of interesting going on the surface. I like sketching food packages because I really like the cute designs and vibrant colors. Now I'm painting the shades using a kind of dark blue I mixed by myself with ultramarine blue, purple, and magenta. Now I have a tiny space on the corner of this page, so I found a tea bag. So I decided to sketch it on the corner. So usually when I have a tiny space left on the corner of my journal page, I often walk around the house to find something that is small to sketch to fit on the space. So this is a very easy thing to sketch, but well, it's tricky to make it interesting, right? So I'm trying to make it interesting by painting very loosely instead of one solid yellow. It's a very loose yellow. And finally, the shadow really makes it pop. It looks three-dimensional on the page. And the next day, I went for a walk to the supermarket and got a new pack of burger buns. And now I'm sketching it. Little details like this really matters. It really helps to define the three-dimensional form of the burger buns. Curvy lines, abstract organic lines, and now I'm doing some hatching to suggest the shade inside and outside the package. So it's quite tricky to draw, sketch, and paint plastic packages. So we really have to trust your eyes to see the dark, medium, and light shades all around the package. Now I'm adding watercolors. Again, I'm starting with the lightest color, yellow. And now I'm doing wet on wet technique, blending in some burnt sienna mixed with orange and a little bit ultramarine blue. So when doing wet on wet, it's so important to not overblend, because the more we overblend, the more muddy and unnatural the sketch looks. The color and patterns is never going to look exactly the same as the real life object, so just let go and don't overblend. So when we're sketching, we're trying to capture the essence, the spirit of the things, not the exact accuracy. Now I'm having a piece of pomelo. It's a type of citrus fruit, like orange. Again, I'm seeing and drawing in an abstract way. And again, painting by starting with the lightest color. I found a lot of objects, lightest color is actually light yellow. Same here. And wet on wet, blending in some peachy color. And adding some shades on the side to give it more three-dimensional feel. And after a rainy storm, it turned out to be a beautiful day. But it's really, really cold. Here I'm sitting in the front yard of my family friend's house. I'm sketching the view outside. I'm starting with this huge tree in the front because it's an interest point. It's easy to start a sketch with a large thing in the very front, in the foreground. It creates a sense of depth for your picture and it really draws the viewer in. And patience is needed to draw these rails. After I draw the things in the foreground, I begin to add the little details in the background in relation to the things in the foreground, in relation to the trees and the fence. So here we go again with painting. The first layer is light yellow again. It's the color of the sunshine. After the first layer of very watery light yellow wash, I'm adding more stronger colors like for the golden trees and the green trees. When I painted my sky, I left some space, very light or white, to leave it for these golden leaves. And adding another layer of orange red for these trees. So adding another layer or two on top really gives more interest to your watercolor sketch. But just don't overblend it. Now I'm painting the shadows on the road with a mix of ultramarine blue and purple. The shadow really gives contrast to the sketch. It gives power. And now adding some final details for the leaves on the ground with burnt sienna, red and orange mix. And I left the tree trunk and fence blank because less is more.